Hi, my name's Samantha, and I'm here today to talk to you about the division of labor in marriage. Specifically, my presentation is called Domestic Princess. What we see here is an image of classic Disney princesses: Ariel, Snow White, Cinderella, Jasmine, Aurora, and Belle. And they, are all sparkling and glowing. They all have, beauty. They're all put together, hair done, makeup done. If you can remember back to their respective movies, they're all obsessed with true love and have a pretty clean house or castle. And usually that's with the help of some sort of little forest animal. Now, I understand that these are classic Disney princesses, and the princesses of today have changed somewhat. Today we have Anna and Elsa, Princess Tiana, Rapunzel, all princesses who are very strong, independent women, and that's wonderful. But today I want to talk about how these specific princesses have affected uh, what we face in our everyday lives as women today. So what do these three princesses I'm showing you now have in common? And no, it's not their beauty or their gorgeous dresses. I tend to think more about the fact that they spend a lot of time in their movies cooking and cleaning. All three of them needed to be rescued by a man, and their lives didn't really seem full or complete until that man saved them. They've really defined what being a good woman and wife has meant to multiple generations, my own included. So what is housework? Getting back to actual real life and present time, what is housework? Generally considered a task that people are unwilling to do, which drives one spouse to try and get the other spouse to participate in the task. And we can all pretty much agree on that that's usually the wife trying to get her husband to do something. Historically, housework has always been equivalent to women's work, and that's really unfortunate because they're not tasks that a man is incapable of doing by any means. Everything that a woman can do besides childbirth and nursing, a man can do as well. And I would say vice versa. Obviously, there's going to be some things that physical strength will kind of negate, but I don't think that's the case when it comes to most work within your actual home. Now, in a study worldwide across numerous countries, women reported that they feel they do more than their fair share of work, and men in those same countries reported that they do less than their fair share of work, which is interesting. So both sides already recognize that there's an imbalance of power within the home. So why do we teach our children these stereotypical roles that leave men really unprepared to contribute in the relationship and leave women feeling, overburdened? So let's talk a little bit about gender differences. Um, as I was stated before, women generally feel that they do more work. In the U.S., over 50% of women, married women, say they feel they do more work than their husbands do in the home. In couples that have more of a continuity and agree that they do an equal share of work, they generally agree that tasks such as laundry, cleaning, cooking, parenting decisions, grocery shopping, and small repairs are the tasks that are evenly shared. Now, that shows great progress for women and families as well, but that same information isn't reflected in the media. The media hasn't caught up with the trend, the growing trend of, men and women splitting up housework evenly. And that being said, this could really affect how our future generations are navigating gender roles within their relationship and within their home. If there's not something in the media, in society, reflecting that men are capable of performing these tasks, and that it's acceptable for them to perform these tasks, then what would make them continue to do so? If we're constantly bombarding our women, our men, our girls, our boys with images of hypermasculinity, and women really being in more of a submissive role in the home, then that's what's going to be reflected back time after time after time. So this is Gaston, and he's really kind of a man's man. He obviously is very into his body. He's hypermasculine. He likes to hunt, so using violence. He was seeking in Beauty and the Beast a beautiful wife to bear him strong children, strong boys specifically, to feed them hearty meals, and to clean up after their mess. I think that this character, this type of man, is really what exemplifies. This is a perfect example, really, of kind of the modern man who's rejecting the trend that we're seeing. I don't think that it's by accident in any means. There are men that will specifically seek out women who are willing to do the housework, who are willing to do it without a man's help. And that's not necessarily, two people finding each other and finding the perfect relationship and perfect love, as much as it is a purposeful decision on the man's part to go in direct opposition of feminist trends. They know what they're doing, in other words. These men are so helpful. They cut the grass, they clean the gutters, they choose physical jobs that take a small amount of time and are often seasonal. So they don't really compare with the everyday tasks of, doing the laundry, sweeping and mopping, cooking dinner, taking after the kids. These are tasks that are every single day, and they take up a lot of time and energy that doesn't really compare with maybe mowing the lawn every 2 weeks for 4 months out of the year. Now, we talked a little bit in the beginning about how our Disney princesses have changed, but now I want to talk about how our princes have changed, because I think how they are reflected in Disney movies really affects the decisions and growth that little boys will see, especially when they come into manhood and become married and start making these household decisions every day. So our princes of the past were generally always royalty, hyper-masculine, and generally used violence. They tended to choose submissive women, princesses that have been poisoned by an apple, or perhaps a sleeping curse, a slave to their step-parent, or one princess, the Little Mermaid, Princess Ariel, who literally had no voice. She had no voice. She could not stand up for herself in any way. She had nothing to say. And obviously none of these princes were cleaning at any point in their respective movies. Now cut to our present princes, and they're generally commoners who marry a princess in order to become a prince. They're still hypermasculine. They're still using violence, so that hasn't changed. But they do tend to choose strong, independent women. A princess who refused an arranged marriage, Princess Jasmine. Iron pan wielding rebel who defied her mother, Rapunzel. And a princess who chose her sister over the love of a man, Princess Anna, in Frozen. Now, these princes are still not cleaning. There's not really any classic imagery within these Disney movies of these men sweeping the floor or down on their knees like Snow White and Cinderella were both depicted, literally scrubbing the floor on their hands and knees. There's no image of that within Disney movies for men. Now, I think it would be beneficial to society, beneficial to little boys and little girls to see maybe a sequel to Frozen with Elsa off fighting some distant war with someone who doesn't agree with her magical powers while her husband stays at home, cleaning the castle and chasing after these magically inclined children. I would definitely pay to see that and pay to take my children to see that for sure. Now, I want to talk a little bit about how chores are divided within the home. Obviously, they're a necessary evil that all couples have to conquer. They're generally going to be based on likes and dislikes, and ability is going to be taken into account, but no one really wants to clean. I know personally I don't wake up in the morning excited to, scrub the floor or get the ring off of the bathtub. That's not something that, I'd preferably, I'd like to read a book or relax or maybe have a glass of wine, but we still have to clean. And yet the burden is not necessarily on both shoulders. It's generally going to be kind of blunted by the wife, by the woman. And it's concerning because, even in the movies, as you can see, princesses get help from cute forest animals, but fun fact, no bird or squirrel has ever helped me clean anything at all, unfortunately. I wish they would, because two youngins and two dogs, it's hard to keep up with. So it would be nice if one of my dogs could pick up a broom, but as of yet, it hasn't happened. I want to talk a little bit now just about how these kind of decisions will affect a relationship. First off, we all know that husbands make more money. Men in general make more money than women. But should that mean that they do less work in the house? I don't think so. Not necessarily. I think work outside the home is separate from work in the home, and it shouldn't really be calculated into that equation. But some families do feel that they need to. I personally feel like men are still rescuing us like Prince Charming. Let me take the baby. You look like you need a break. I'll fold the laundry for you. For tonight, let me cook. And all of those statements that we hear go back to pointing that it's our job and they're just giving us a break. For men who don't do that, sometimes they pick up a broom without having to be asked to, but then afterwards they want a round of applause and a cookie like they did something special, but the wife doesn't ever get that recognition. So I think those aspects relate back to, yeah, your husband may help you and you may feel that it's 50-50, but the way the behavior is still reflecting that society is saying women should be doing the housework. So how does that affect the relationship? Marital satisfaction is going to go up when housework is more evenly divided. And ding, 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 women will have more sex with their husbands if it's evenly distributed. And they often enjoy it more. So kind of a key point here, husbands, do some more housework and don't expect recognition for it. And perhaps you and your wife can look like those two kitties over there in the corner. I think that a lot of relationships kind of crumble from frustration, and I think a good point to make is that perhaps divorce rates could go down if cleaning and child rearing and things of that nature were actually a regular part of both men and women's activities, and that would then free up the responsibility of financial burden being only for the man. If we bear everything equally, we can be a team that really has success in mind and long-lasting relationships in mind. Now, I wanted to end with a quote that I found in my research, and it says, "And when I look around, it seems to me that in domestic partnerships at large, the righteous ideal of making things equitable easily becomes obscure. Clarity in theory is matched only by vagueness in practice." So yeah, we all think that it should be even, but does it really happen? The more we think about it and the more concentrated we get, I think kind of the farther away it gets. One of the number one things I think needs to happen in order to get us all on the same page, to get the equality that women and men deserve, is going to be to change kind of how media is portraying that, and it all starts with our kids. I can't say it enough that we need to teach our boys they don't have to be hyper masculine, and teach our girls they don't need to be submissive, and hopefully that's reflected in future generations within the Disney movies as we've seen them change over past generations. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed all the information I provided. You have a great day.